Hey guys, this is Shadowq. Today I'm going to be doing a patch notes review for the Gladiator's Glory patch, which I think the notes were previewed earlier today. So I'm going to skip all the basically aesthetic stuff. There was some really cool looking stuff, but mostly today I want to focus on balance changes and stuff of the sort. So we're going to skip straight down to gameplay. The first change here, they say increased range at which you receive golden experience from minions and jungle camps from 60 to 80. Now, before season two, the range was actually 80 yards or 80 units or whatever the heck they use, and that felt very, very fluid. As soon as they changed it, it took a long time for people to get used to it, and still it feels very clunky sometimes for to be standing exactly next to your major ADC and getting zoned from the archers because their clear is longer than the range of experience. So I think this change back rather, is really necessary to make the game feel more fluid. I think it is a very good change, and I do not think it will really change the meta that much. But I think this is a long overdue reversion. So I can approve of this change very much. I think it's a good step in the right direction for Smite. The next change that they did for general gameplay is they increased the gold bounty cap limit from 500 gold to 750 gold, which basically means when somebody's way ahead, they're worth more gold, like after they've gotten kills and stuff. So the maximum bonus that somebody could get for killing somebody who's ahead was previously 500 gold. Now it's increased to 750. And this is kind of an anti-snowballing mechanic. It's nothing too big, but I think it's a good first step. Right now, snowballing in Smite is probably bigger than it has been in the past by a lot. Games are often decided by the 5 or 10 minute mark, which is probably a bit too early. I think we could all agree on that one. So I think this is a good step in the right direction as far as reducing the amount of snowballing early and allowing people to catch back up for killing somebody who was previously ahead. So I approve of this change very much. I don't think it will be enough to stop the amount of snowball that's in the game currently, but it's, like I said, a good step in the right direction. Next, we'll move down to we're gonna skip the miscellaneous thing because that's mostly like UI and a bit of non-balance changes. But over here, down at items, we have Achilles Spear. This this item is like never seen in competitive. If you guys don't know what it does, it's because well, you haven't really seen it be used ever. It makes you take more damage and makes you deal more damage. And usually the downside is way too much to be something that you want to pay for or even use. It's arguably better if you had the item to literally never use it. So this actually got a pretty substantial buff though. Reduce the cooldown from 90 seconds to 30 seconds, which lets you use it more versatily. So like if you pop it and have to get out, if you have some sort of sustain mechanic, you can go back in the fight after healing up. And so maybe it'll see more use on people like Bakasura who could pop it right when he ults. Sprint, it basically gives a sprint thing as well. It lets him go in and heal up after eating a few creeps. Might see some use on ADCs who are able to just go hit a jungle camp real quick out of a fight to heal up after taking a lot of extra damage in a fight. But it's really questionable whether this will really see use. Uh, this also says it now increases damage taken by 30% from gods only, which means we might see it used in something like split pushing, I believe, if it works like that, or maybe burning an objective really quickly. So that also opens up the ability for this to be used way more creatively. Many more options for this to be used now. It might see play. I would suspect that it probably won't be too popular, and it'll be more of a niche pick if you even see it. But I approve of this change. Really quick, easy reversion if they find that it's overpowered, which I don't think it will be. But regardless, good thing to add more diversity to the game by adding basically a new item to the game like this. It basically wasn't in the game before. It was just that bad. Um, Bankrupt's Talent, they fixed some graphical things on that. But this is a big one. This item was added to the game in the last patch. Uh, this is one of the most controversial items added recently because of its snowballing effect, really. I don't know if I would call it snowballing since it's pretty flat throughout the entire course of the game. Some people think it's really strong. Some people think it's just going to be on par or maybe just for supports. Basically, it gave you extra experience in gold whenever you hit a member of the enemy team, but now they no longer provide bonus experience, and they reduce the magic power from 30 to 20 on the magical portion of it. So this is basically like now it's very similar to old Midas boots. I think Midas boots from before gave you like 5 gold per 5 or something like that. I don't honestly remember. It's probably something along there. So if you hit 3 people every 90 seconds, I think it's the exact same amount of gold that Midas gave before. So you will probably see it exclusively on supports now. Um, it was really tough to tell if this was overpowered on junglers or other roles. Honestly, I don't think so. Some people really thought it was. But that being said, I think this is probably where the item should be. Supports will probably still get this item every single time. Maybe people find out that the early game is just far too important and you can't really give up that extra bit of magic power, but nonetheless, these items are now in a probably very good spot, especially for supports. And I do not expect to see these boots being used on any other role again. Next, we have the God balance changes, a bit of a bug fix on Apuch there, and we'll move down to Agni, also bug fix. This is also a bug fix, but it's actually a pretty relevant one. It looks like they caused some issues with her passive not working, so she's going to be doing a little bit more damage now in all your rank games. And Moonlit Charge no longer proc Spirit Robe, which is actually pretty important. So I think that's a really, really important change there. Um, Next, we're going to see. Give me just one sec to try to get this section selected correctly. There we go. And where were we? God balance, God balance. Bakasura. So Bakasura's minions get an adjustment this patch. The damage has seen a slight reduction to basically make him less powerful level 5. Now the minions do 15 damage down from 20, which I think is a really, really important thing. I think Baka has been too strong for quite a while, and his level 5 power spike was probably a bit too much, so I think this puts him in a much better spot than before. This won't really affect his end game at all. This will more or less keep him in the same spot, but I think it's a good nerf. I approve of this change. I don't think this will make him see more or less play, but makes him a little bit less cheesy at level 5, which I can approve of. uh, Bologna. Basically, her one was an insanely overpowered ability, so they made it only proc on God's hit. So instead of instantly using her one on 3 minions and absorbing 3 auto attacks, it only now instantly absorbs one, which I think is much, much more balanced. And finally, they reduced the duration of Eagle's Rally from uh, 14 seconds at max rank to 10 seconds, which it didn't matter. That wasn't really what made her strong. I don't think that's the right place to nerf her. The Eagles rally change seems pretty arbitrary. If you're gonna nerf Bologna, I don't really see that spot to be a spot to nerf her in. But nonetheless, it does put her in it is a nerf, so I think it's a good thing to nerf a pretty overpowered god. So this change is good. I don't think it was really in the right spot, but it probably won't affect how much you see Bologna. She'll probably see the exact same amount of play, same roles, still a high priority pick in both NA and EU. I don't think this will change that, so it's a pretty arbitrary change. A good nerf nonetheless, but oh well. Kabrakan. Now this is actually one of the biggest changes of the patch. I think people will probably underestimate this pretty substantially. If you've ever played Kabrakan, which I don't think many people have really given him too much of a shot, when you use his wall, it takes so long for that to fire, and it's simply ridiculous. Like his ult was near useless except for like out of CC already just for the damage. And Salt's appearing instantly might even make him viable in like support, but I would expect to see some Kabrak in solo. I know that he wasn't even that bad in solo lane before, but now he might be able to be played in support as well. He does still have like trouble initiating like that, so I'd expect to see more play in like jungle and solo, but maybe we'll see him as support. But this change is not insignificant at all. This is a very, very big change. This is probably one of the biggest buff they've had in this entire patch, and it's don't underestimate this change. This might make a Bracken competitive viable. So we'll see how that really pans out. I think this is a great quality of life change too. It just feels really frustrating having the wall have such a long cast time. Um, I think it's just a really, really good change. I think that was a smart way to buff him. It's long overdue, but I think he's in a pretty good spot now. Balance changes can obviously be made just right after the fact if they realize that he's just doing too much damage. Maybe they could nerf his damage, give him like they increase his utility. So if they nerf his damage, that might make him actually decent at support relative to like other roles. But good change, very good change, very well thought out. I approve. Um, a bit of a Janus bug there. So Sylvanas right now is, in my opinion, the best support in the game. I think a lot of pros would agree that they're at least in the top 2 or 3, and very, very highly prioritized, especially in NA. And this change is a very, very good change. I have suggested before that Sylvanas' basic attack should not be AoE. They should be lob just like they were, but they should only hit one person. And that's because one of his biggest strengths is the early game dual lane push phase. He's just the best character at pushing because of the purple buff, because of his heal, because of every part of his kit is just ridiculously good for the early game laning phase. And instead of not making his attacks AoE, this is probably the next best solution that I didn't even think of before, but his attacks no longer knock back minions. So instead of being able to mitigate the damage from the enemy archers and melee are just going to be doing the exact same amount of damage they were before. Sylvanas' push will still be absolutely ridiculously good, but this is a good nerf in the like it's a good nerf. I think he might see a little bit less play now. Maybe Athena will be prioritized over him now, definitively. Um, maybe there will be a few gods that can outpush him now. Like Ymir was actually pretty close before because his 2 was a very very good lane push tool. So maybe that anti pushback thing will push it over the edge. Maybe you can counterpick Sylvanas a little bit more for the laning phase. So I think this is a very smart change. It's in the exact right spot. I don't think it's quite enough, but it's a good first start. Moving on, finally, they fixed the basic attack trails showing green effects from the standard skin. Wow, this is huge. Wow, I can't. They finally fixed that. I've been waiting for that change for years. This will make Zhong top tier, honestly. All right, that's gonna be it for my patch review. Thank you guys much for watching. Make sure you follow me on the YouTube channel. Just hit the follow or subscribe, whatever the heck. I don't use YouTube, dude. Hit the tweet button under this YouTube video to follow me. And I also have my Twitch and Twitter links in the description. Follow me there. Thank you much for watching, and I'll see you next time.